I'm just having nightmares right now.
It's going to happen. Welcome to Elevated Sports. I'm Kyle Johnson.
I'm Billy Mock.
We are talking about the NBA. As you know, the NBA shut down in March due to just a little thing. Yeah, Rudy Gobert was really the whole root cause of all this.
Yeah.
But if you dig a little bit deeper, it goes down to something called the coronavirus or COVID-19. The NBA shut down. What's going on now? Where are we at?
So actually, as we speak right now, the Memphis Grizzlies and the Portland Trailblazers are playing in the play-in game. And Memphis is actually winning 42-41. So, go Memphis, where John Moran stands.
Oh, really? Memphis is winning?
They're winning, yeah.
What has led us to this point?
So, the NBA restart started back 3 weeks ago or so.
End of July, yeah.
End of July. We had 13 teams from the West, 9 teams from the East. And it's called a restart, but it's not necessarily a restart. It's a resuming, essentially. So it's not like their records were cut clean. They just continued on from the regular season. And then the only difference is that if the 8 and 9 seed of either conference were within 4 games, they play a playing game, which is what is happening right now. But the 9 seed has to win 2 games. The 8 seed only has to win 1. So right now, Memphis is the 9 seed, Portland's the 8 seed. So Memphis has to beat Portland twice to get in the playoffs and play the Lakers. So each team played 8 games total. I actually have really enjoyed the NBA bubble, and it's been a lot more basketball to watch because they basically every day there's a nationally televised game, and it's like all day. It's from like noon to 8 o'clock at night. They have a game running, so it's been a lot of fun. I think the NBA has handled it extremely well. There still has been 0 positive COVID tests in the bubble. They've done a good job, and I'm glad to see the NBA back. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Unfortunately, your Warriors were not able to make it into the bubble.
That's right.
But the Bucks were.
That's true.
You're a Bucks guy.
Yeah, Giannis. We'll talk about Giannis once we get to the East.
So what we're going to do is we're going to break down the playoff bracket for each conference. Give us our thoughts, and actually, each round. We'll do a video for each round to preview it. So we're gonna preview the first round, but we can also give our predictions for the next rounds. But we're not gonna do a deep dive into that. Right. But we're gonna start with the Eastern Conference, and our matchups we have Bucks and Magic, we have Raptors and Nets, we have Celtics and 76ers, and then we have the Heat and the Pacers. So, let's get into it. Where shall we begin? You want to start with your Bucks?
Yeah, let's start with the Bucks.
So the Bucks, in the bubble, they have a 3-5 record, which hasn't been a big deal because they clinched their number 1 seed pretty early on. Obviously, Giannis had the suspension, the final game. That was really the only issue.
Yeah, that was pretty disappointing to see.
That was
someone of his caliber do something so petty.
Yeah, I never knew Giannis had something like that in him.
That was really petty.
But he'll be back for the playoffs for sure. They're playing the Magic, who also are 3-5 in the bubble. And the Magic, they played pretty decent in the regular season. Were able to lock up that 8 seed pretty early. But they lost Jonathan Isaac to an ACL injury. So that's going to be tough for them. So for me, I'm going to give an X factor for each team. If you've watched some of our NFL videos, our weekly predictions videos, did an X factor for every team. I love doing X factors. I'm a big X factor guy. The X factor for the Bucks in this series, and really the entire playoffs, is Giannis's jump shot. I say the entire playoffs because the Bucks are likely going to sweep the Magic in this series. This is. As LeBron said back when he was playing with Miami and they swept Philly in the first round in 2012 or something, he said, "We're just finishing our breakfast." This is the Bucks eating their breakfast right now and playing the Magic. So last year we saw the Bucks. They played Detroit in the first round last year, I believe, swept them, beat Boston pretty bad, and then ran into Toronto. And Toronto, obviously Kawhi Leonard, probably the best defender in the league. Guys like Marc Gasol, Pascal Siakam, they were able to figure Giannis out. They were able to neutralize his jump shot, which still hasn't been exactly great, but it's getting there. And then when when all Giannis had to do, all he had left to do was drive the ball inside, they were able to eat him up inside the paint. So if Giannis can, exploit offenses with the jump shot, open up the floor for the rest of his team, and be able to get to the rim, that Bucks offense is unstoppable. So I think Giannis's jump shot is the most important thing on this Bucks team right now. What do you think about the Bucks in this series?
I don't think the Bucks are going to have a problem.
They're not.
I feel like a lot of people are still rusty going into this. Obviously not the GOAT Devin Booker, but there's still a lot of people who they haven't been playing for a couple months. They're a little rusty, especially the defenses on some of these teams. I think they've given up absurd numbers of points to the opposing teams, each and every single team. So it'll be interesting to see, but I don't think the Bucks will have a problem taking down the Magic.
Yeah, I have the Bucks in 4. The only chance of the Magic stealing a game, it was Jonathan Isaac being healthy, because Jonathan Isaac is a great defender and he could have done at least something to neutralize Giannis, but he's out. My X factor for the Magic to at least look somewhat good in this series is their 3-point shooting. One of the downfalls of the Bucks defense is their ability to defend the 3. They're very long inside, but outside their perimeter defense isn't great. And the Magic are not a great 3-point shooting team. Obviously, you have Markelle Fultz as one of their guards who cannot shoot to save his life. But you also have Nikola Vucevic who can shoot the 3. So I think he's a big factor in the series, 3-point shooting. If they can expose that part of the Bucks defense, then I think the Magic could at least look some halfway decent in this series. But we got the Bucks in 4 in this one. Let's move on to the 2 versus 7 matchup, the Raptors and the Nets. The Raptors are, I think if they won yesterday, they're 7-1 in the bubble. So they're one of the best. They've performed pretty well in the bubble. And the Nets have actually done pretty good as well. They've knocked down some pretty solid teams. They're 5-3. But I'll just throw it out here right now. I got the Raptors in 4 in this one.
Really?
I got the Raptors in 4. I mean, they're coming off a championship. They have arguably played even better than they did last year, even without Kawhi Leonard. They've got veterans on this team. They know how to play in the playoffs. They've been there. I don't think the Raptors will have any problem beating the Nets. The Nets have played well, but they lack the talent to beat the Raptors. Obviously, no Spencer Dinwiddie, no Kyrie Irving,
no KD,
no Kevin Durant, but they never had him to start with. So, well, they had them, but they never had him on the floor to start with. So that's not a huge deal. So I think the Raptors.
Jared Allen, is he in there?
Jared Allen is in there. He's been playing pretty well. So the thing with the Raptors is they're honestly just thinking about the Milwaukee Bucks at this point. So they're going to do whatever they can to stay fresh, to stay healthy, and they want to win fast. They don't want to have to play any extra games. That's going to put some wear and tear on their bigs that are going to be guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo. My X factor for the Raptors is playoff Kyle Lowry. We all know the meme that comes with Kyle Lowry. Last year,
I think it's about time to share that meme back to the Twitterverse.
Yeah, that's one. That was my most. I actually share on the channel. I'm not going to brag about my meme. Kyle Lowry, he kind of reversed the curse last year. He played pretty well in the playoffs, and the Raptors won the title, obviously. So that is good for him. But he still wasn't, he wasn't necessarily a standout guy, and he had Kawhi Leonard on his team. Now Pascal Siakam, he, a rising star in this league. He's going to be the guy for the Raptors. But can Kyle Lowry step up and be the guy as well? He is the veteran on this team. Can he take over when games matter? Can he show that clutch gene that he has shown glimpses of his whole career, and be that guy? That's my question for the Raptors. Can Kyle Lowry step up?
I don't think so.
You don't think he can?
No.
I don't think he can either. I think it's going to all fall on Pascal Siakam, but that's why I say Kyle Lowry is the X factor. If he doesn't step up, I see the Bucks beating the Raptors. As far as the Nets go, I really like Karis LeVert in this series. He's my X factor for them. With Dinwiddie out, with Kyrie Irving out, LeVert has, I think I saw a stat that he's like in the bubble, he's 5th in the league in usage rate. So he has had the ball a lot. He has led the offense a lot. He's done a good job of it. But he has always flown under the radar in his career. I think this series is a series where you can just kind of show the league what he's made of.
I'm gonna take the shot.
Take the shot.
Honestly, you said 4-0 sweep of.
I said the Raptors. Before. Yeah.
I'm gonna choose the Raptors, but I think it's gonna be 4-2.
6-game series.
I think the Nets are gonna take them to 6 games.
They've been playing well. They have some momentum leaning their way. I just think that the Raptors are too talented for them.
I'm high on Karis LeVert. Entering into last season, I had no idea who he was. I randomly picked him up on my fantasy basketball team, and next thing I know, he's one of the top fantasy point guards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a player with high skill level who's been kind of stuck behind Dinwiddie and Kyrie Irving. You know, I'm excited to see Karis LeVert unleashed to his full potential. So, but I still have the Raptors winning.
All right, so we got Raptors in that series. Let's move on to the 3 versus 6 matchup. Boston Celtics and Philadelphia 76ers. Boston has looked good in the bubble, 5-3. Sixers, they've looked kind of mediocre. And obviously the big news for Philly is that Ben Simmons is donezo. Done. He went through the Dunzotron. Obviously a huge loss for Philly considering he's kind of the face of their offense. He's kind of the guy that makes things happen, offensively, also a very good defender. But let's talk about the Celtics real quick. My X factor for the Celtics in this series is the bigs. Enes Kanter, Daniel Tice for sure. Because with Simmons out, Embiid's going to be the focal point for that offense. And also don't forget that Philly has Al Horford on their team. So you got 2 giants down there that know how to play very well. But Kanter and Tice, they've been solid for Boston, but they're not great defensively, right? So I can see Philly really wearing them out on the boards, and really exposing that part.